All right, guys, today we are going to revisit the Driftwood Purple Nightmare. Let's get started. Well, thanks for joining me for today's episode. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a little bit here. Now, I used to own this amplifier, and I sold it to a friend of mine, Matt, and he was kind enough to let me do a video with it and kind of revisit it for you guys and for myself. And the reason why I sold it wasn't because it didn't sound good, because it is a really good sounding amplifier, but the feel just didn't work for me. It was a little too loose feeling for me. And so today I'm going to revisit this amplifier and dial it back into the settings that work best for me. And I'm going to try a couple different overdrives with it. I've gotten some different overdrives since I sold this thing, so I want to see if my new overdrives might be able to fix the problem. So let's go ahead and start with the clean channel real quick and see what that sounds like, and then we'll move on to the fun stuff. Sounds really good. Let's dress it up with some effects. Let me turn on the Julia chorus and the flashback 2 delay pedal and see what it sounds like when we get her all dressed up. Sounds excellent. Really full. It's chimey and bright and warm. You know, it's really nice. So let's turn the knobs for a minute. I'm going to turn the pedals back off and just mess around with it, see if I can get it to sound even better. Actually, it sounds really good. There's a lot of usable space in the mids on the clean channel. And honestly, it didn't bother me to have the treble cranked all the way up either. So, I mean, you could do that on this. Obviously, you don't want to have too much bass. It gets a little too flubby and overpowering. But I think that's a good setting for it right there. And got the gain right here. You know, so yeah, really, really not bad. There's a mode switch. Let me see what that mode's for. That seems to be a bright switch. I like that even better. So now let's redial it in with that on. Sounds really good. Just so you know, I'm using the coil tap on the guitar. I like a coil tap for cleans. It just sounds chimier, kind of stratty, so that's what I like. I think strats are the best sounding clean guitars anyways, and I think this guitar emulates that very well. So yeah, let's turn the effects back on and see what it sounds like now. freaking beautiful. Really, really good clean channel. I forgot how good this clean channel was. Holy crap. Very, very nice. All right, so I think we got the best settings, at least for my taste. Hopefully yours too, in the clean channel. So let's switch over to the fun channel. Let's go over there and let's see. We're going to go in the high gain mode on channel 2, which is a high gain channel, and see what it sounds like. And the overdrive is off right now. All right, so it sounds pretty freaking good, right? So let's go ahead and turn the knobs and go over the sizzle switch as well. So in fact, let's start with the sizzle switch now. I'll just put it in 3 different positions and you'll hear what it does. So all the way over to the right basically gives you more sizzle, I guess. And when you turn it all the way to the left, it's very subtle, but you notice a little bit of a shift. And then in the middle, obviously, is like a neutral position. So let's mess with the knobs now. And over here we have rumble and sharp, and that's basically the, the resonance and presence controls. All right, so this has a built-in overdrive. It's like a TS9 circuit, I believe, that's in here. So let's go ahead and engage that now. So I'll turn the knobs where I think, most people would have, an overdrive pedal set to, and then I'll go ahead and click it on. You'll know it's on because you'll see the light engage right here. Okay, so this is one of those amps that you absolutely 100% need an overdrive with. I mean, if you don't put one in there, the feel is really sluggish and unresponsive. And I talked to Merrick, the builder of this amplifier, and he basically said that this is his take on a dual rec. He was always a big fan of the dual rec amplifiers, but he wanted to make one that was his take on it and incorporate a boost pedal in the amplifier as well, because if you play a dual rec without a boost pedal, I mean, it's awful. So this amp is kind of in the same vein feel-wise. It's pretty loose, you know, without the boost. And even with the built-in boost, it's still, for me, it's a little bit too loose for my taste anyways. So what I'm gonna do is turn the boost pedal off that's built into the amplifier and switch to, let's start with the Mud Killer and see how that sounds. We'll start with the boost pedal on that's built into the amp, and then I'll switch and just see, you know, which one I like better. 100% prefer the Mud Killer over the built-in TS9 circuit that's in the amplifier. And that just goes to show you that if you build an amplifier with a built-in boost, it's not going to work for everybody. Or if you build an amplifier that is quote-unquote tight enough that it doesn't need a boost, it's also not going to work for everybody, because one person's tight enough as another person's not tight enough. And there's so many variables with how tight we like our amps and how responsive we want them to be. So that's why there's so many freaking boost pedals, you know? So now I'm gonna go down the line. I'm gonna start with the Mud Killer, switch to the Odd Box, and you know what? I'll try the Pepper's Dirty Tree as well, and then I'll go to the Grid Slammer and see which one I prefer the most. Mud Killer sounds great with it. The Odd Box added a little more fullness, and it almost seemed a little more saturated with that pedal. And it's in UK mode, by the way. So if I was to use that, I might want to back the gain down a hair. And then the Dirty Tree just had a cocked wah sound to it. That's out. And the Grid Slammer sounded amazing with it as well. So now I'm going to try to decide between the Mud Killer, Odd Box, and Grid Slammer. The Grid Slammer's, it's a really nice in-betweener for those two pedals, because it adds some fullness and really adds some aggression to it as well. So man, this is really really tight race between these three. So I'm going to start with the Grid Slammer and work my way back to the Odd Box, then to the Mud Killer. Okay, so the Mud Killer is less gainy and less full. It's a great recording tone, you know, with the Mud Killer. I mean, it's pretty sculpted, so there's not too much of anything. So it's a great recording tone, especially for multi-tracking. I mean, whether you want a dual track or quad track, I think that would be the way I would go. Playing wise, it felt better with the Odd Box and the Grid Slammer though. So let me, again, Mud Killer sounds great, but now let me decide between the Odd Box and the Grid Slammer for someone who's just playing live, not recording multiple tracks, you know, because that's what we're doing here. I'm playing it, you know. So I'm going to start with the Odd Box, and I'm going to dial in the amp to sound best with that, and I'll do the same thing with the Grid Slammer. Yeah, the feel is really good, and I had to turn the gain down just a little bit, but it does feel really good. So yeah, let's switch from the Odd Box to the Grid Slammer now. I could go either way with the Grid Slammer and the Odd Box. Usually it's a little bit of a clearer decision between those two on a lot of amplifiers, but since this is a pretty unique amplifier, it really is, especially when it comes to the feel. The feel of this amplifier is very, very different than any amp I've ever played. It's got this extra amount of sag and looseness to it that I've never experienced before. It's very close to a dual rec when it comes to that, but still slightly different. So if you're looking for an amp that's a little looser, even after you boost it, I mean, this could be a good, you know, good amp for you. Everybody likes different stuff. So now let's do something really freaking crazy. Let's incorporate the built-in boost on this with the Grid Slammer. Let's see what we can come up with. I'll just mess around with the knobs and see what I got here. So Grid Slammer's on. I'm going to engage the built-in boost while I'm playing and see how it sounds. Pay attention to the light down here. That's how you know it's on. Okay, so it's got a bit of that chainsaw kind of thing going on. It's actually pretty cool. It doesn't bother me. It's different. It's got a lot more attack on the top end, and I honestly think that the circuit that's in here, it's kind of wimpy. So you could get away with stacking this, you know, like an overdrive with whatever circuit that's in here, because it doesn't really remind me of a TS9 anyways. It sounds like a very mild version of that. So not ragging on it, I'm just saying it doesn't really remind me of a TS9. It's kind of a subdued version of one. So you could get away with stacking these. I really think you can. And the amp stiffened up and got a lot more responsive, but it's not overly gained out or anything like that. Let's play a couple more riffs on it. All right, so while I'm playing, I'm going to turn the grid slammer off and show you the difference. See what I mean? Even with the circuit engaged, it's on. Even with the boost, the the built-in boost engaged, it really just it's kind of wimpy. You know, it just doesn't have that kick that I like. And I play a lot of high gain amps, and with that built-in boost in this, it just, I don't know, man, just doesn't work for me at all. But if I incorporate it with another overdrive, then that works better, because I'm not really technically stacking overdrives here. Like if I was to take 2 overdrives on my board and stack those and put it in the front of this amp, I mean, it would just be the gates of hell opening up. It'd be madness. But this boost in here is so wimpy that you can get away with using an exterior boost at the same time as having the interior one turned on, as I just proved. And that doesn't sound overly gained up or anything like that. It's not a big mess. So now, you know, it'd be interesting. Let's switch from the Grid Slammer to the Mud Killer, which I think was the mellower of, my top 3 here, while the boost that's built in is still on. And let's see if that is a good happy medium. Yeah, not bad. Still cutting a little bit too much low end. Let's try this. All right, not bad. Let's switch to the odd box. All right, we're back to the odd box. I think because the odd box doesn't really add too much top end to the amplifier, and it kind of retains the original tone of the amplifier, but just gives it that really nice push while also giving it some fullness. I think it's Perfect. Now this is what the amplifier, in my opinion, should sound and feel like. I think it sounds and feels great, just like this. So I didn't have the odd box when I had this amplifier before, so I could totally use this amplifier with the odd box now. And I'm telling you, this pedal is such a miracle pedal. It really is. I was set on the grid slammer, but as soon as I incorporated the the internal overdrive in the amplifier, I came back to it and it was like, yep, there it is. That's what I look for as far as response and overall sound of an amp. Let's play a couple more riffs. Honestly, for me, I think this is the best I can get this amplifier to sound and feel. I mean, I had to make some compromises here with the pedals and different settings and stuff just to get it to feel the way I wanted it to. But the sound is great. It really is. I think it sounds pretty freaking kick-ass, if you ask me. And you know what's interesting is I actually wrote the song Night Terrors the first 10 minutes that I owned this amplifier. I wrote that song on this amp. It inspired me to write that riff, you know. So I have to give this amp some kudos because there is a gnarly aspect to this amp that once you get it dialed in the way you like it, it sounds great on certain riffs especially. So why don't we celebrate that by actually doing a one-take mix with Night Terrors? Why don't we do that right now? Well, that sounded awesome. Yep, this amplifier, I think this is the best I've ever had it sounding and feeling. And it was kind of nice to reacquaint myself with this amp. I mean, these are beautiful amps, you know. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I love the wood, you know, and all that. I mean, it's just a freaking very interesting, unique looking amplifier. And it's definitely one of the most unique sounding and feeling amps out there as well. So if you're looking for something that's really different and you don't mind spending a little time dialing it in and maybe messing with some overdrive pedals that you can pair with the built-in circuit, if that's to your liking, this amp's definitely worth a look for you. It really is. And the clean channel is glorious. I mean, it's an amazing clean channel. So I would say that it's better than a dual rec in a lot of ways, especially when you consider the clean channel, and the overall voicing of the amp is more modern. It's not as fizzy as a dual rec. So I like the voicing better. So I think Merrick did a really good job with this amplifier. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And if you did, please give me a like. And I want to thank Matt from Motor City Guitar for allowing me to take this home for a few days. I'll also be profiling it for the Tonex and the Quad Cortex for you guys as well. So look for those very soon. And yeah, so thanks to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you like what I do here, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I come out with a new episode. And if you want to support my channel, I would really appreciate it. There's a link below for Patreon, and you can also, you know, click on any of the links below for different places if you want it, like Sweetwater, Motor City Guitar, whatever. They're affiliate links. So if you're looking for something, please help me out by clicking those links and purchase something that way. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it definitely benefits the channel a little bit. Helps me continue to do these videos for you guys. And in fact, at the top of the list there, I will put my link to the Odd Box. I think every guitar player should have the Odd Box. I really do. That pedal has saved my ass so many times, and it's just an incredible pedal. And there's just times where it's just going to completely work for you, especially on overly sculpted amplifiers. It adds that really nice big fullness to the amps and makes them sound amazing. Doesn't cut out too much low end. And man, this pedal is just such a workhorse. I really like it. Well, anyways, thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And well, I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I will see you on the next one.